Hey everybody, welcome back to Mind Over Matter, episode 29. We got the opportunity to speak to a multilingual man living in Belarus, wherever the hell that is.
Couldn't tell you.
Yeah, it was great. It was great conversation, Kev. You want to talk about it a little bit, man?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we got Ilian on. He's from Belarus. I had to look that up where that was and if it was a country or anything about it. But no, he was really cool about it, and we got into some cool subjects. So he cut out a little bit, but we tried to keep the conversation going and really make something happen. So enjoy episode 29, episode Big 30 coming up. So catch y'all later.
All right, everybody, welcome on back. Mind Over Matter. We are inching towards episode 30 here, Kev, aren't we? I think it's 29.
I think this is 29. Yeah.
Yeah. So very excited. Me and Kevin had some stuff in the works before this podcast, so our business is going well, and now we're going right into a podcast. So couldn't be more excited. So Kev, you want to just talk a little bit? How you doing?
Yeah,
How you
no, I'm
feeling?
just super pumped, excited about this episode. So, like Trevor said, we got a lot of business stuff coming in the works. So, trying to balance everything that we're doing and keep the show rolling. And if you were curious, yeah, that's why Trevor is in a nice polo shirt. Show the
Yeah. Not in
people,
the
bro.
I'm not in the sweatshirt today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, no, we got a lot of big stuff coming, and I'm excited to get into this. So.
Yeah. So today we have. Hope I don't mess it up. Is it Ilian?
It is.
Bang. Bang. So
Boom.
today we got Ilian. Ran into him in a Discord chat, the real ones. I'll post the link down below if you feel like joining. Just out of nowhere, ran into him. He said he's from France. So why not just hop on and just start talking? He's called himself the baguette copywriter. Figured that's
Wee wee.
yeah, that's funny enough for me to get him on the podcast. So he hit me up, and now we're gonna talk a little bit. But Ilian, want to just go in a little bit? Who you are, where you from?
Okay, so right now I'm based in Minsk, Belarus. So Kevin now knows where Belarus is, and I hope you will at the end of the episode. So, as you said, I'm from France, although that's a little bit of a stretch because I'm literally from everywhere. Like my mother is Russian, although she's not really Russian. My father is from France, but his grandfather is from fucking Brazil. So yeah, I'm a mishmash.
Yeah, you are the classic European over there, huh? Just throw it all together.
Well, to be honest, I look the most European you can get. So
I was gonna say, yeah, you look really European. If I had to kind of picture one.
well, that's the thing. Like, there's no non-European things in my family. So yeah,
It is what it is.
it is what it
Yeah, you
is.
look
No,
good.
yeah.
You look good.
Before this show, yeah, we were talking. I asked him where he's from. He says he's living in Belarus right now. I'm like, well, I didn't know. I didn't know if that was a country or a city, but I looked it up.
What'd
So
we get, bro? Tell the crowd.
Eastern Europe roundabout,
All right, all right.
cold, kind
It
of
is.
dark place from what I've seen in movies.
Really?
Well, yeah, like War Dogs, that Jonah Hill movie, where he goes to fucking one of them places, and I don't know, like a former Soviet Union country, and then he like it's all cold and kind of grimy, I guess there. Like, bro, I don't know anything about that area. Bro. I know a little bit.
No, we're about to find out though.
Yeah, let's get
into
it,
What we
bro.
wanted to do. First off, what we wanted to do is I wanted to talk a little bit about the difference in cultures between our two little countries here, because here in America, me and Kevin get to experience an interesting culture. A lot of people love America for the culture itself, but it's kind of on a decline a little bit here in the recent years. And I was just kind of talking a little bit before the show. I myself don't go too crazy out of my way to talk to people. I feel like everyone's a little bit more aggressive nowadays. Everyone's out for themselves. We're not too united on really any front, and everybody just knows if I get involved, I might be liable for something, and no one wants to be liable for someone else. Like if someone this I don't know if you just seen it, Kev. That dude that executed the guy in broad daylight, like took like a minute and a half to load his gun, and everybody just watched him, and then just
Well,
pop.
yeah,
Like,
it's the same thing as the that chick who was getting raped on the bus, and everyone was
yeah,
just
just
standing there
film it.
watching.
Yeah, it just no one knows the situation, so they feel like they can't jump in. Or if I jump in and shoot this guy with the gun, we genuinely believe that someone from the government, the court, like we will not win in court. And now I've just put myself in a bad situation, and now no one's safe around here because no one's willing to protect each other. So that's just kind of where we're at here in America, man. How you feel over there?
That sounds fucking crazy. Well, as far as I'm concerned, here in Minsk, there's literally, well, I can't say there's no crime, but it's just mild. Like, it's for the most part impossible to get a gun if you're not a hunter or a police officer. So there's no shootings, there's no fucking stabbings. So it's just like the minor things in life. So the most scary thing, well, the scariest thing you could get is just like a group of alcoholics, like in the middle of the night, and most of the time they
Shit.
wouldn't give a fuck. So you'll just like go home and like drink some tea. But there can be like punks, like little kids that could try to act like like some badass dudes. But if you tell them to go fuck themselves, like really, perseverously, that's what I wanted to invent. This word, they'll leave you alone. So you won't get into any trouble even if you really want it.
They just leave you alone, you said?
Yeah. So if they see you are not a pushover, they won't risk it.
Now, okay, because like I know here I can tell you exactly why we get that, you know, people not wanting to intervene, right? Like the person being shot, no one doing anything, or the girl being raped in the bus. It's like it doesn't matter what happens. Like you could be the most correct, you could be acting correctly within the law, right? But there's such a strong media influence over people in this country. It's
Mm-hmm.
that people don't want to intervene because they know that the media is going to come for them. Like, do y'all have a real strong media apparatus like we do here?
Well, I can't say it is as strong. Um, but to be honest, there's not really much to cover.
I wanted to ask real quick, like, does the government run the news and the media where you are? Oh, we lost.
Rogue.
Oh,
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. So I was complaining about it with my neighbor.
wait, with your neighbor? You talk to your neighbors?
Well, I live in a dormitory, so yes, as I'm a student.
Duh.
Duh,
Yeah.
duh.
Idiot.
Duh. Oh, Mal.
Where are you going to school? You're in college or something?
Yeah, I'm in a university, so Minsk State Linguistic University. So yeah,
What you studying for?
studying for being a translator. So languages.
Are you so you started off copywriting, right? Is that so? That's what kind of what you do now, right?
Yeah, but I started out as a translator.
Right, right. Are you?
Yeah.
How'd you get into the copywriting space? Just real quick.
Here's the thing, as we've discussed, the translation space is fucking horrendous. It pays pennies, and it's really hard to get even something decent. So, I'm still working with a client that is more like in the marketing niche in a translation. So I decided to, oh, there's the cat, yeah. And I decided to like dig in more and like learn about copywriting, well, to elevate my translation skills. And then I was like, yo, I'm so dumb. I could do copywriting and earn like 10 times more.
Yeah, yeah. And I was thinking,
Yeah.
there's got to be a way. I mean, do French companies? Is that's your native tongue, right? Speaking in French.
Uh, yeah, it is as native as English or Russian. So
You speak all
yeah,
three.
I do, and I speak some more languages, but not as well.
All right, so
Well,
that's
shit.
badass. How how did you learn all the languages? Because I've been thinking about learning a language. How did you start learning them, or you grew up around them, or?
So French and Russian, they run in my family, so I just acquired them naturally. English, I acquired it, well, technically naturally, since we were like traveling all around the world. So I was forced to listen to it, to watch cartoons in it. For example, as Italian and Spanish, they are basically like French, but
Yeah.
dumber. I can understand it and maybe like hold a basic conversation if I wanted to. Now at a university, I'm learning German, so I can speak German like on a simple level. Also learn Chinese just because I was like an energetic freshman and wanted to be cool. It isn't that hard to be honest, but it's just like time consuming to memorize like all those like squiggly parts. Yeah. So, big tip if you want to learn a language, just read and listen to it. Like, it's not that hard. Like, you don't need to be a genius to do it. It's just you need to grind it like 15 minutes a day, like for a year, and that's it. You can understand
Man.
it like to a basic level. Yeah, of course.
Oh my god. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely have to start doing that. Start blocking off my day to just listen to whatever language. Because I was thinking about learning Russian, thinking about learning French. I was thinking about learning.
Well, be
I
my
want to
guest.
learn. I want to learn something. Maybe I'll learn Polish because that's my name, nationality, whatever. But
Should learn Arabic, dude.
how about new?
Yeah.
What do you think in when you're thinking? What language do you think in?
Russian. Well, because I talk it like most of the time. Maybe okay, occasionally like well, something French. Well, because it's the first language like I loved, I acquired.
And what do they speak over
But
there?
well, they speak French.
All right, all right.
And no, in Belarus, what do they speak?
Oh, sorry, I was being too funny.
No,
Russian.
no, you're good. You're good. I'm curious. I'm curious.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. They speak Russian. That makes sense. Okay.
yeah. Belarusian. It's like technically the first language over there, but it's a really long and complicated story. So most people here, like 99%, they speak Russian, but they can understand the other language. But they, yeah, yeah, you get the idea.
Because they were part of the Soviet Union. If y'all weren't tracking that.
Ah.
Uh,
What?
Mostly yes, and then there's also the historic notion that Belarus, it is like a western part of Russia, of the Russian Empire. So, and there's that, like a justification.
Mm.
Well, to be honest, like nobody gives a shit.
All right. Hell
Not
yeah.
not over there. Over here, America's itching at just itching, waiting to label it as Russia, just so that we could go attack y'all.
Swear to God, bro.
Well, be my guest. Okay.
Is there more
Sure.
support for Russia or the Ukraine in Belarus?
Russia, well, because to be honest, this will get like highly politicized, and I wouldn't really want to talk about it on a podcast because I will be labeled a Putin shill and a Kremlin bot.
Ah, okay. See, okay, so they do a little bit of bullying over there. That's the same
The
thing that happens
same
here.
No,
shit.
I'm talking about the audience.
Oh, no, they don't give a shit. If you, uh, if you, let's say you voted for, I mean, I'll tell them right now. I like Russia over Ukraine.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Fuck yeah,
I don't
bro.
believe a,
Okay.
I don't believe a single thing Ukraine is doing, and I don't think the U.S. should be a part of it at all. And I think they have stretched their narrative so that they could get a part of Russia and get something going. I don't know why they wanted to do that. I don't know what Ukraine wanted to do that for. I don't know why Ukraine thinks it's a good idea to go against Russia for some reason. I don't know. But I just think for some reason because I think on like a humanity level, I'm not thinking we're against Russia, let's fight them. I'm thinking we're all just one group of humans and we should be working together to figure something out. So I just don't believe in what's going on over there right now, and I think it's unfair to Russia, if I'm being honest.
It is unfair, yes. It is also unfair to those who were affected. It is unfair
Yeah.
to those who died. Although the dead, they don't give a shit because they are dead, sadly. But any reasonable person with well three working brain cells, they can understand like what's up by analyzing the headlines in the press, by analyzing what the talking heads say, and by analyzing where the money is being allocated. So, as we were talking with Gav, the East Palestine thing, no, nobody gives a shit. The American government doesn't really want to support the people in Ohio that are being like gassed to death and whose lives will be ruined for I don't know like for the next uh 50 years minimum. So that's
Easily.
yeah. So count like
No,
three
that's
or
the
four
annoying.
generations.
That's the thing, though, is our whole media apparatus. Like, if I only watch the news here, I would think that Russia invaded Ukraine because it's just some evil country that has this bloodlust that it must satisfy.
Yeah, and we ride bears and drink vodka.
Yeah, like just because y'all feel like invading. It's like, okay, you mean to tell me that if China were to try and put a base in Mexico or Iran put one in Canada, the Cuban Missile
No,
Crisis, like we would not sit idly by and let that happen. So to act like if Russia does the exact same thing that we would do and they're just evil, that's such like a fucking hypocritical thing to say.
and also is so oversimplified and spun out of context because, well, to be honest, you can say that, oh, it attacked first, well, out of context, but when you peel it all back like 10 years, 20 years, then you get the whole context.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And the news cycle's only 24 hours, so no one thinks about even 4 hour or 4 days earlier. Everyone thinks about what's happening right now. It's
Yeah, bro.
the
Yeah.
what were we saying earlier though? You cut out the media. There's no bad news over there? What were you saying about like this?
Um, um, well, it is, well, the bad news are not portrayed as vastly so. We, well, I personally and the people around me, we don't get to know like every shooting, every stabbing, every like drunk fighting that is happening. So, well, A, because it doesn't happen that often. It is like super rare, especially in the countryside. Hold that thought. And B, well, because the only thing in the media now is the patriotic thing. Well, to be honest, as an outsider of both systems, on the one hand, it is good that people, well, they would want to be more patriotic for their own country. Well, because in a way, like, it is good that you love your own country, yada, 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 yada. But on the other side, it looks cringe. Well, how we do it.
Right. Yeah. That no.
So,
It's when I joined the military, the word patriot, like patriot, just meant a whole different thing, like a completely different definition of patriotism from when I joined to now. Like
What do you mean? What's
when
the
I
difference?
joined, I was like, I love America, I love everything we stand for, and I will die for this country. I have no problem dying for this country. And now I just think patriotism is a way to pin nations against each other. It's not necessarily we should all, like I said, we should all be proud of being humans together. It shouldn't be I'm American, I feel so proud to be an American to where I am willing to go to Iraq for the Americans and blow up Iraq for, and I have no reason why. I have, me personally, I got no reason to be over in Iraq. So my patriotism led me to go fight for the country, and isn't my country isn't doing this for all of humanity. My country's doing it for the country. Does
But
that make sense?
it's because it's not like really patriotism, I don't think. I think it's the country that you have to be patriotic towards. That's the issue. Like, if America didn't get involved in the rest of the world shit and focus on our own citizens, like, you wouldn't have a problem being patriotic.
well, so as I see it, as I'll repeat it, like as much time as I need it, as I need. um, I would truly wish to be a patriot of any country, like for example, a patriot of France. But the problem is there's no country left. So that's a problem of every right-wing person in France. Like my father's dad. Recently, I went to the embassy here in Minsk. The ambassador feels exactly the same way. Everyone there thinks the exact same way and feels it. There's no country left. Like there's no story left. There's no values left. So it is only like part of another thing that doesn't give a fuck about
Yeah,
its own heritage.
it's like another. You're just getting associated with another group of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's my thought. Like, you can't have a country if you don't have any sense of patriotism or nationalism, you know? Like, if people just don't give a shit about the country they live in, and there's no culture or values that they can take pride and identify with, like, you're not gonna have a country for very long.
Right. And that's what we're running against right now is we ended up weeding out what we were built on, religion, and now we weeded it out and now we're built on nothing now. Like
We've
you
we've
know, it's like,
stagnated as a culture.
yeah, we have nothing to come together on. We all used to share the same values and it was good because everybody was on the same page and we would be able to talk about those values and share them together. But now, since we have divided it, and it's now got the narrative that religion is just a cult, because however we got there, we're here now, and now there's no culture behind what we're fighting for. There's no purpose behind what we're fighting for.
Well, as I see it, um, patriotism and religion are both tools. That's the first thing. The second thing, well, some thoughts about America as a nation. Well, as a nation, it died the day that the immigrants from England sailed there and killed basically like 99% of the indigenous people. So, what is America as a country? It is a big debate and a mystery, to be honest. But now, looking at it like culturally, well, there's nothing left, as you've all said. So, even though a country doesn't need to be founded on the terms of religion, it can be can be founded on well just a simple notion or a simple wish even. And what we know as the United States, it was maybe I'm wrong. I'm not the most uh, historically accurate person, well, knowledgeable. It was founded on just personal freedom
Right.
in a way because like the immigrants they sailed away from a system that didn't get them what they wanted and they built themselves. But then everything has a limit, and so now it is just like 51 states that are operated by a central government that is operated by who knows what.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I don't really want to go into that rabbit
No.
hole because it will be a mess.
We
Yeah, we'll
couldn't
be.
we couldn't air it on YouTube anyway.
Yeah, we'll be there
Yeah.
all day too.
Yeah, so let's shift the focus that on the media here. So my first argument was that nothing really happens here, and what I mean that I remember very vividly how a tragedy happened in a rural city where I partially, well, not that I grew up, well, I lived there for some time, so the gist is there was a car full of drunk people. They were driving in the night, like pedal to the gas. They didn't see a tractor with some equipment behind it, and they crashed, and everybody died. And it was such a huge shock, to the community there because nothing happens like that in literally years. So
Wow.
it was kind of sad because the teachers were talking about it, the administration was talking about it, and I don't know, it wasn't like really pleasant. Although it wasn't like groundbreaking or terrifying or shocking. It was just like a mundane thing, like objectively, because there are like millions of car accidents all over the world, but here,
What do they talk about usually then if it's not like bad stuff? Like if I turn on the news right now, what am I going to see? You know what I mean?
no idea because I don't watch them. I stopped doing that like 10 years ago, so no idea.
Well, shit.
Because like over here, it's like they purposely find the negative things to airs. So, well, and if you don't have any negatives, that's what I said when you cut out. Actually, when you left or your notebook crashed, whatever. So it's if you're not having any crime, if you don't have any crime, what are you going to air? Because that's like 95% of the news here.
Well, truth be told, and that's like a common truth. It is like the most basic trick in the playbook to just show all the bad stuff because in a way I had an opinion that bad stuff makes us feel more not like realistic, but more aware of our surroundings and makes us more alert. Well, that's routed, well, like primarily in our brains. But now I see it more as doom scrolling because, in a way, well, you can't say anything but yes, it is, truth be told, addicting. Like, I did a small experiment and well, watched some news on some Telegram channels, and it was addicting because I was like, what will happen next? Like, it's so interesting. But then I reminded myself that it doesn't fucking matter because it does not affect me like in any way.
Yeah, see, I think right now, I don't know if it's because the government has instilled the fear in the people, but I personally, I stopped watching the news. Shoot, probably like 3 years, 4 years ago, and then now I have jumped back on it, honestly, because of my fear for another world war. And when or if that happens, I want to be able to tell my kids what happened in my terms, not what the media says, not all that bullshit. I want to be able to siphon it out so that I will be able to describe, because it seems like what's happening right now in the world is a major world event, and I want to be able to tell my kids about it instead of them having to read the history book that the government is going to give them. But I was even
Well,
go ahead.
yeah, yeah, no, you go ahead, please.
But I was on the topic of fear. I was just finishing my book today, and they were saying during the flu epidemic in it was in 1920 here in America, the president went to the journalists and said, "Look, you guys have to stop airing and talking about this flu epidemic because the fear of ill health, just the fear of ill health, declines everybody in performance, declines the whole community." So back 100 years ago, he was like, "Look, we can't be airing everything about the flu because if we just stop talking about it, it'll go away, and we'll just deal with it then. If you're scaring everybody thinking they're about to get the flu, and they're gonna get the flu. It's how the mind works. It's a fear of mental, or it's the fear of illness. So it's just an interesting thing I wanted to add.
Yeah,
You know.
and now you have the complete opposite of that with
Well,
coronavirus.
I don't know if there's a way to stop that. That's what the whole Twitter thing's about. I honestly don't know if there would have been a way to be like, look, we can't talk about this shit anymore. Like after 3 months of COVID, what could have we really done to said, look, we can't keep talking about this because everybody's scared of their own health. Like, could we have went to Twitter, Instagram, Facebook and said, look, shut it down? Because that's what they tried to do anyway, is put the little learn about more COVID here, you know?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like when you realize you can't really do anything about it, like what is the point of keeping people afraid to that level?
Right.
Well, the answer it is just so simple. Well, fear equals control.
Yep.
That's it. There's nothing more about it. Well, to it.
Was it like fearful over there? Like, were you guys like scared? The first couple, I'd say like the
No,
first month or two over here, we were kind of scared. Like everyone was serious about it. No, interesting.
no, nothing will happen because, well, for the first month, there, there were only like new news pieces about that it broke out and it's spreading, but there were no cases here. Then there were news that first cases were here, then that it was like more serious, and we were just told to go home and learn, well, learn online, and that's it. So there was nothing crazy.
Oh, it's like go do your own research. Don't depend on our media.
No, study online in the context of my university studies.
But
Oh,
like,
okay.
was there like mask mandates and all this crazy shit over there?
No, no.
Wow.
Shit, dude. I wish.
It
Yeah.
was like recommended, but it was not forced. Now, so
It's
Yeah,
interesting
because
stuff.
here it's like the opposite. It's like this. It's all state based, right? So like in Tennessee and Florida, they really didn't care. But like you go to Colorado or California, and it's like you don't wear a mask, and you're the worst person on earth.
Yeah. It's like the easiest way to pin people against each other because we're in state governments too, separate from the federal. It's like everybody
It's
can fight each other now, just state to state. They're gonna end up their own countries now. Like every state's gonna be their own country.
it's so
Yeah,
obvious
but-
too. Like when you go to the grocery store, it's like bro, who agrees with you and who doesn't, like instantly.
yeah, that's what I think. That's the biggest, like what they tried to do is just diversify us. But if you didn't have the media like that, how could you get that done? And just sucks that the propaganda, the tools that the propaganda machine has now compared to back then, we just can't keep up with. It seems like so. It's just harder to get the truth out.
Well, look at it like this too: is if the fight was unwinnable, they wouldn't need propaganda.
Mm,
Meaning, if we
yeah,
were so easy to control that, if we were easy to control, they wouldn't need the propaganda. It wouldn't be necessary because they could just
yeah.
lie to us. So,
Wow. Well,
shit, dude.
but yeah, Ilian, how was
yeah.
how was school growing up? How about like the culture in the
Oh,
school
school,
growing
yeah.
up?
Well, most of the time I was supposed to go to school. I didn't go because I traveled a lot, so it was distant based. So
Oh, okay.
I got like emailed like some books, some answer sheets. So I studied, did tests, and sent that back and got grades. So the first ever time I went to proper school, it was like maybe
Boring.
like seventh grade. Yeah, and the impact was immediate. So I started cursing like a naughty boy, like after a week. Yeah.
Shit, dude.
Um, to be honest, um, school was boring. School was boring. Um, and there's one thing I'm obliged to say, because there's a lot of misunderstanding, especially on Twitter. Um, well, there's a movement, well, a so-called movement in my head of people that are bashing school and that want learning from home. So how do you call it? Like homeschooling, I
Homeschooling. Yeah.
guess. Yeah.
You don't like
Um,
homeschooling, or like you don't agree with it?
um, it is good. It is more efficient, but there's fattest but I could ever say on this podcast is that the primary function of school is not teaching.
Okay, agree.
The primary function of school is socializing, as in kindergarten, as in school, as in university. Because those institutions, they teach kids how to interact with other kids. So they teach them how they should act in adulthood, and they give a base of knowledge. So that kids knows where Minsk is and what Belarus is.
Shit, tell me
Like
where Nashville is in Tennessee, bro. Come on, man.
I know that there's Nashville chicken, and that it
Thank you.
is good.
Thank you. There you go.
Yeah. So
Respect. Okay.
So
yeah.
Yeah.
So
why'd you
respect.
travel so much? You keep talking about how you traveled.
Well, ask my parents.
All right.
Well, it was there.
No, hold on. I
That
gotta,
that
I
dude.
gotta ask you though, real quick. Like,
Sure.
about the homeschooling thing is where I disagree with you is I don't think school is meant to socialize you. I think school is meant to get kids to be controlled and to get used to the fact that, they're only really regurgitating things, not thinking for themselves. And there's this authority figure in the classroom. They're going to be working
Mm.
8 hours.
Well, you are. I can see where you're going from, and I even have an argument for that, and that argument being that, if I remember correctly, it is Thomas Ford, like the Ford that revolutionized the complex. He was the main contributor to the U.S. school system, if I remember correctly. So maybe the viewers will have to research that and give some more details, but that explains a lot.
You
Like
said,
it's
Um, yeah,
like it's industrializing that, you know what I'm saying? Like it's not designed
yeah,
to make each kid excel to their highest level. It's designed to get a base kid that is smart enough to read and take direction. But
and smart enough to work in a factory.
yeah,
That's Thomas
exactly.
Ford. Um, I can see your anger, but let's look the other way around. As a government, as an institution, what do you need your citizens to do? You must have a labor force, and school is a great way. Well, school and other institutions are a great way to form a working man. So there's nothing wrong with that. Even
What?
though,
Just to produce workers, though?
well, it was, if you think about it, in a society, it was always like like that. There's the peasants, and there's the people that control the government.
Yeah,
So, so
that's what
yeah.
that's what I'm saying though. Is like the government is running these schools to produce workers, right?
Well, I agree. I do agree, and that doesn't in any way contradict what I was saying because you can't have like a functioning factory if the workers can't be like sociable and hold like basic bonds.
Well, but
So,
yeah, I'm thinking there's no. What's the other way to get people to want to go work in a factory? How do you create a labor force other than school? So
hold a gun to them.
yeah, like you.
money,
What'd you say?
mo- money.
Yeah, exactly. And they're not going to pay some monkey who just works on the assembly line any money. So you could create those
Not
monkeys,
really.
No, they bring them in from fucking Mexico, dude. That's all
bring,
they do now.
bring them in from school.
Cheap labor. No,
Yeah.
it's like you. That's. I don't want my kid to just grow up to be like a tool of the machine like that. Like,
Well, nobody wants it, Kev, so
well,
that's
that
justifiable.
okay, but like, how am I supposed to say this? It's like, as a state running the country, you need to have workers, right?
Indeed.
And I don't think the correct way to do that is by just starting them young and indoctrinating them early so that that's all they know how to do. It's like the worst way to go about doing that.
I think it's the only way because now I'll be speaking as a professional because at a university I am also being taught how to give classes and how to teach people. So I know like a thing or two. Uh, the younger the person, the deeper the impression is from any experience. So the younger they get to, well, be, as you call it, indoctrinated, while the better it is. well, for the person that benefits from it. And I must say that for full transparency, it is not the primary function of education as a whole, well, to indoctrinate. The primary function of education, it is not learning, it is teaching a young person good values. It is to teach them how the world functions and to understand themselves as a member of a society. And
Oh.
being creative. Oh, also that is a big point because there's a good pyramid of how can you call it, of actions that make you learn the fastest, and on top of that, there's highly cognitive work, which paraphrased can be the same as saying being creative. So, for example, when learning a language or any other topic, the typically the last exercise for a unit or for a concept is to use your creativity to make something new. And that's why it sticks to the most, because you're using a, a base of knowledge, things that you already know, and you spin it by using your creativity and abstract thinking and completing a task in a fun, engaging, and creative way.
So, would you say it's fair for me to say though that because the U.S. is failing in every regard for schooling, so kids are coming out of high school dumber, less creative, less motivated, and outright worse in every regard, that I could see that and say, oh, I actually think that the school system is failing these kids, and I refuse to be a part of it. They're not satisfying the primary needs or objection or what I call it. They're not educating them, like they're not doing the primary things that education is supposed to provide.
Um, I can say that the institutions are not doing what they are supposed to do, but I can't speak for the education system of the country I'm not familiar with.
Oh,
So
okay, yeah,
I
that's probably
can't
wrong.
I can't make assumptions.
It's bad, dude. Like kids are getting into like high school where they're like, 13 to or like 15, 18, 17. Like they can't read. A lot of them like they don't.
Marissa's training a girl right now. My girlfriend works at a hair salon as a receptionist, so you can imagine how simple the job could be. She came home the other day and said to the woman she's training, "All right, the change is $3.50." And the receptionist
Okay.
goes into the drawer, grabs $3, grabs a quarter, looks up at Marissa, looks, and then asks Marissa how much the quarter's worth. Marissa's like, you need two quarters because two quarters is 50 cents, one quarter is 25 cents. And this girl's 16 and doesn't know how much a quarter is.
Dude, I saw fucking TikTok yesterday. It was like this dude asking Americans questions. Like, asked this one chick, he's like, "What's the biggest city in the world?" This chick goes, "Europe." Like, okay, yeah, no. Clearly, she's
Well,
not.
to be
Yeah,
fair, to be fair, it is also a question of how does she define a city.
what?
It
What?
is a problem of
You're kidding
definition.
me? Come on.
Well, I'm being sarcastic.
Oh, Oh, okay, dude. I'm fucking.
No,
joke's
that
on
was
me.
good, bro. No, yeah,
I'm like,
you
oh,
had
let's
me for a
see.
second, bro. You had me for a second. I was like, "There's no
I know,
way."
I know.
He's been intelligent this whole podcast. There's no way he just flipped the switch on my ass right now.
Does it identify as a
Nah, nah.
city? Yeah. I'm like, this fucking what?
What is her
Wow.
definition? So that
Well,
Lord.
so answering your question, Cav, the only thing that I can state from what I know and from comparing, well, two systems, the Russian one or even the Soviet one, which is deemed by the lovers as one of the most powerful that was made. The American one, as far as I know, gives too much liberty to kids, so they can choose their own subjects, what they should do, should not do, should include and should not. And on the one hand, it is good because you give liberty, but on the other hand, as Clive said, people can't like.
Shit.
Ba-dum, 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 ba-dum,
Fucking
ba-dum.
Russians took his Wi-Fi. Bro.
Yeah, bro, that's what's happening. Is the energy's low over there? They got
Yo.
no energy over there.
Elon Musk got to go get them Starlink or something.
Yeah.
Shit.
Interesting stuff. I wanted to ask a little bit about the LGBTQ stuff, just to see if like transgender is a big thing over there.
Yeah.
Just because I'm
It's
kind of
like,
curious.
we don't. That's almost replaced religion in the U.S.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's a religious entity if you think about it. Like you got
Yep.
people who you can't curse, like you
They
can't
got
commit
their own.
blasphemy,
They got their own reality.
their own tenets. Yeah. And I was
Yeah.
gonna say that like the patriotism thing, like that word can mean two completely different things because we're so opposed to each other right now. Like we would think patriotism as not going over to the Ukraine and spending that money on Americans. But
Ah,
people in the left would say, oh, the patriotic thing to do would be, of course, to stop Russia at all
yeah.
costs.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why patriotism is just a tool to use to pin people against other nations. If you just said, "Hey, why are you not proud to be a human?" How do you pin a human against another human?
They would find something,
They
dude.
would
You can't
find
have a
something,
country.
but
You can't have a country with no sense of nationalism.
I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. I'm just trying to think of how to do that on a mass scale, but I don't think I think that's
You have a
impossible.
bunch of countries that are strong. That's how you do it.
Yeah, not trying to fight each other. That's what I'm trying
Yeah,
to say. Is
fight
like,
each. They don't fight each other because everyone has some fucking strength. You know.
yeah, yeah, and then that's what I'm saying. It's like patriotism
Patriotism doesn't mean I
is
love my country and I'm entitled to your shit. You know what I'm saying?
what?
Patriotism doesn't mean if we each had our own country, right? I'm a patriotic one. That doesn't mean that I'm more inclined to take your shit or invade or anything. It just means I like my own place.
Yeah, and then when someone says, "Look, we don't like that place,"
You're not going to have a whole country saying that. They're going to say we don't like our own place, and they're going to have their own civil war.
mm,
You're stronger together if you have a sense of nationalism, bro. That's what I'm saying.
yeah, I agree.
Well, I disagree if you can hear me.
Yeah,
Oh
you're
yeah, we
good.
got you. We got you.
That's nice.
Yeah. So my laptop decided to pull a prank, so now I'm my iPhone.
It's just a social
So
prank.
just a prank, bro. Yeah.
Yo.
So the most important thing in a community, it is not really nationalism. It is more of unity. And I wanted to make a clear distinction because nationalism, it still divides you by something abstract. Well, like your nation, since we will the word nationalism. While unity, you just need to have a common goal or a common problem.
How are you
And
going to get that unity without nationalism? What are you going to unify around?
well, there are places where I've been, for example, that have three separate religions, three separate nations. Well, not nations, but ethnos, and still they are united. So this shit
On
works.
on what? Like three religions in their own country?
Yeah,
Okay, so what's uniting them?
that I do not know, but they are
Yeah,
united.
yeah.
They are.
That's how I could see where Kevin comes in, and the nationality is what unites them. So look, yeah,
Yes.
we got four different religions, but we are all from America. But then, Kevin, that's what I'm saying is you could take it to the next level and say, yes, I agree. We have some different views. We have different religions, but we are all human, and I
Or
understand that.
That would never that would work in a perfect world, bro. That's like anarchism. It would work if no one committed crimes. Like yours would work if people had that belief themselves. But people don't have that like almost planetary kind of perspective on who we are.
Because we're in our own nation, worried about our own nation.
No bullshit, Trevor. You know as well as I do. You could dissolve every national border on Earth, and people would not unify as a country. That would only happen if like aliens came here or something, bro.
well, I think I have the answer for this, and that answer
Hell yeah, cook it up, bro. Shit.
would be firstly that people are egoistic at core, and it's perfectly fine. Then that they tend to want to find people that look like them and speak like them, have common interest. So slowly you are having like small communities, and I don't know why, but still it is biologically like driven. That I know for sure. There's a very strong sense of there's we and there's the enemy. There's us and there's them. So argue if you wish, but that is like basic shit, like basic psychology.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
why
And
there can never be no country world because people are just like I'm a big believer in like just leave me the hell alone, right? But like that's the problem you see here is that people that have that mentality don't realize other people will always want to take their shit.
yeah.
It's like human nature to want to take other people's stuff. So like having a country where people actually believe in it is a great way to keep those people safe because it says you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us. What are you
yeah,
thinking, Trevor? Like we
Thinking you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us. It's not what's happening right now in our nation.
what do you mean?
Maybe it's because the unity, but if you mess with one of us here in America, no one gives a shit.
That's yeah, well because we
So
don't have a nationalism here. Or I'm sorry to cut you off, bro.
no, we not right now. I mean, we have. That's the thing is like right now we don't have enough patriots. I guess you could say we don't have enough people that believe in the American government right now or believe
Yeah,
in America right now.
we don't have one thing to unite. So what people have done is they've formed individual groups. And that's where you'll find the if you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us, right? I'll give you an example. Go to the most liberal town in Colorado, Boulder, right? And put on your Trump hat and say, "Oh, you hate gay people," right? And punch one of them. They're all going to fucking jump you, bro. Like that's what I'm saying. People just find commonalities and make their own communities where the national pride does not exist. They're not looking
uh,
at it as American on American violence. It's your side versus my side. The sides are just smaller.
I would want to add also that It is also the oldest trick in the book. It is called divide and conquer. So that's literally what is happening. So you take some shit that does not matter, and you make it like a cornerstone for people to be divided.
Yeah.
And those people, like, they argue on this stupid shit, and they don't notice the bigger picture. So that's literally like the most basic place.
Yeah. Ilian, if you were to start a country on your own, if you were to start a country on your own, what would you found it on? America's liberty. I like the idea of freedom. I would probably found my country on freedom, but that's hard to deal with. What do you think? Like
Shit.
your what would your people unite over?
Mm. Well, that's a good question. Well, first, um, I'm kind of sleepy, so I can't get any great ideas out of my head.
That's fair.
So I'll like with some monkey shit. So truth be told, as any other person, I'm kind of selfish. Uh, I'm not a hypocrite, so I can say it like out loud and not be ashamed. Maybe if I'm in a mood of being like a romantic guy that likes like high ideals, I could like find something I really like honesty, love, or some other shit, and use it as a basis for a country. But now I'm more realistic, so I'll just say it is those who share my blood. So my kids, their kids, and etc. So people that I would genuinely care about. Because if you think about it, back then, like 50,000 years ago, we had tribes. We had no countries, and tribes were founded on what? On blood and on
Yeah.
bloodline. So like it's literally like go back to monkey, and that's it.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
about you,
That's.
Trevor?
I like that. I like that. That's a good answer, actually. Um, I don't know. Probably I'd want my underlying principle to be probably discipline. Try to like found a country on the fact that if you're disciplined, you win. So if my from starting from a young age, you just become it's kind of like a culture, I guess. Like Russians are very disciplined. That's kind of like over here. That's what we think is what's Dagestanis, extremely
Oh,
disciplined,
oh yeah.
something like that.
Like a meritocracy thing, like your success is determined by how much you work or like
Yeah,
how
like
good you are.
disciplined and good faith. You know, I don't know if I would
Shit, I'm
include in a
with you,
religion.
brother.
Would you find it on a religion? Do you think religion is more of a uniting thing or a
That would be the first
separator?
thing I'd fucking do,
Yeah.
brother. No, like for me, I found it on Christianity. Like you can take our founding fathers here. It's like, okay, they didn't they almost prevented us from having a national religion, right? But can those American values work without that without the values Christianity teaches?
Yeah.
And
And that
I
go ahead.
yeah, I think the answer is a fucking fat no.
Well, was that be something you're trying to shoot for? Is trying to find something where you got your own principles and a religion, or would you rather intertwine them together? Because now, if you
I
fall out of religion, you fall out of your principles.
Where do you derive your principles from if not religion? I think just because I think religion teaches you a sense of principle that is so much better than anything you can
come up
any
with.
other thing. Yeah, because it's so like the perspective on it, like the value for life, for example. It's like if you don't have any religious part, how do you put a value on a human life? Like how it's almost anything but it's just a meat bag pretty much. There's nothing special about it, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. How you feel, Ilian? So, if you're willing to talk about religion.
Yeah, I can, sure. Well, my thoughts on it is that it is a tool, as many other things, and here's why. It was a tool, and it was, still is, a very good tool for several reasons. And the first one, it was a moral compass, because it could give people that, well, let's assume, for the sake of the argument, that they were savages that liked, I don't know, like incest, like stealing and some other shit, and with the help of religion, you would definitely get rid of that in literally like one generation. Then, if you, for example, take Judaism, I believe it's in English.
Yeah, Judaism.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about the kosher food. So you donate this, you donate that with specific conditions, and it's there for a very specific reason, because back in those days, it was like a health guideline. So you would know that if you do this, you won't die from any disease or infection. Yeah, so that's my thought. And
You
plus,
said that's not how you say it in English, Judaism. How do you say it in other languages? Is it not a proper noun? Like, do you not?
well, it's because I had some fun. Because in Russian it's иудейство, in French it's, I don't even remember it. So
That's why you needed the help.
Way more Muslims in France, bro.
Yeah. No, that's just interesting stuff. Well, we're rounding around about an hour here, hour 10.
yes.
You got anything else, man? What do you let's talk about your copywriting. What you're like you're looking for a business in the future? What are you looking to do in the future? You got any big moves being made?
Big moves. Well, I'm thinking of doing that more seriously when I have more time, because now, sadly, I don't really have time to put all my energy into it and go ham on scraping leads, getting prospects, qualifying them, and all that jazz. So yeah, I have some high hopes for that, and I've started doing it in November of that year, and for having done that, like what, like 4 months. Well, judging from the feedback from other colleagues, uh, I have a good eye, and I can write shit well, and that gives me hope that I won't say as long as other people did to start their business from scratch. And definitely, as you said the word business, I'd like to do, well, I'd like to work for myself, because, to be honest, working for someone else, well, it's not that it is bad, it is good, like 9 to 5. Well, this is a very unpopular opinion that I've recently like read, and I can't agree. They are good for the reason the pay is consistent, and most of the time you can find a 9 to 5 that is not cognitively taxating.
Yeah.
So you can just like sit on a chair and do your own stuff. While if you have a business, you need to grind and you can easily burn out. So
How
that's
do you avoid
how I see
burnout?
it.
Real quick, how do you avoid burnout? Have you ran into a burnout situation? Because me and Kevin, we were in the military, and it was all too common after about a year being in the military, you're burned out.
Yeah.
around about 2 years, I would say, is when everyone's like, all right, it's just getting
Sucks.
old. Yeah. Have you ever ran into like a burnout where you're just done? Like, I need to take a break? And how do you deal with it?
That's it. It was because, well, that's more the personality thing, but I really like to get deep and do shit well. So
Oh,
not
yeah.
slacking off. And that's the big problem because I do that like 1 week, 2 weeks. I put all my energy into it while not resting, while putting my private life on the back burner. And I get stressed. I can get insomnia. I can get very irritated with minor things and other stuff. So that's why now I I prioritize also my private life, and I'm trying to find like a good balance, well, a good ratio of doing things and being effective. So a quick example, like since you are some Twitter boys, I schedule my tweets like 20 minutes like on a Saturday evening. So I get them all for the week ahead. So I don't need to waste my time doing that. Now I'm getting into the habit of not checking my notifications.
Not
20,
checking?
well, yeah, because I can see like, oh, I have one notification. I'm so interested. What that could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that. Man, I'm horrible at checking my notifications now. I have to get better though, because now we're starting a business and people are calling me and answering or asking questions and shit. And I just got out of the let me check every notification I get. Now I'm
Yeah.
chasing the dopamine, but it's different now because I got money on the other line. Like, I'm not chasing a Twitter thread. I'm chasing
Yeah.
a sales call. It's
They're
this.
different notifications. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
burnout's real, man. I was actually struggling with that actually last night. I wanted
Really.
I wanted to just finish the website. I was just so willing to stay up all night and finish. I had a laundry list of shit I could have done last night. I could have just stayed up all night and just finished it and would have been good. But on the back end, what would that be good? To have a website created a day before I could have done it and completely destroy my sleep schedule, my internal clock, my eating habit. Like, it would completely reset everything if I stayed up too long and messed up my routine. Like, it's just,
Yeah.
I found a routine. I'm sticking to that routine, and if I can't get the work done, I just can't get the work done. But I know during my work hours that I am absolutely grinding away. Like, however many hours it is, I am grinding away, and I know that if I have the ability to do it and the time to do it, I will. So it's a better feeling. It's not that like when I get off of work, I'm still freaking out about work and shit.
Well, and also like two problems I'm having is that I have my studies and they take a lot of time, even though I'm I've started to like slacking off, even like attending classes. That takes like literally half half of my day, which I could have spent on learning something new, like building a lead magnet, like networking and other stuff.
I'm
Uh,
I'm in the same boat as you, man. I'm in a online college because the military pays me to go, and it's just the mindset switching, pretty much. Like, If I wake up in the morning and I have to do homework, it's harder for me to get into my job mentality after the homework. You know, I feel like I'm done for the day because I finished my college or some shit like that. You know, it's just a lot harder to transition.
And about the mentality, that's the second thing. Sometimes, and this pisses me off, uh, it is really hard to wind down after work. Well, after doing some work related stuff and go quiet and do my personal stuff
Yeah.
because I'm still thinking about it. I'm still stressed, and that's a big problem. Well, I'm sure I'll fix it. Well, starting from next week because this week I have more personal stuff to attend to, which could be exciting. But yeah, I need to get my shit done and like find a good balance because I also need to attend to my newsletter. By the way, sub to my newsletter. I
Down
talk,
below.
yeah, down below. I talked about my journey, my experience, and I hope I impressed you, the viewers, with my four working brain cells. So I try to activate them as much as possible in my emails. And yeah, that's a shameless plug.
Oh yeah.
And even that, like writing an email, that takes like maybe like 30 minutes. But in order to get into that mindset, I need to like maybe spend like an hour, like calming myself down, like saying like, okay, let's not procrastinate. Like, let's get this shit done.
You
Yeah.
meditate? What do you do for meditation?
That's a good question because I tried meditating like consciously. So that means like, okay, now I'll meditate like for 10 minutes. I learned how to do it. I saw the benefits, but now I don't do it because I don't see the utility. So the only thing that I'm doing now is winding down when I'm going to sleep. So I'm using a technique that was popularized in the US Army. So the gist is you lay down flat, you relax your limbs like one at a time, you control your breathing, and you visualize like something calm and pleasant. Like for me, I find it good to imagine myself like in a small boat in the middle of the lake, and so I just off my thoughts and wind down.
I think I
And
actually
also,
do. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
by the way, if you have problems with sleeping, I highly recommend, I endorse even, guided meditations. They are good because, well, that is a form of hypnosis. So you listen to the voice, you lose your conscious side, and then you literally like go to sleep without noticing it.
Yeah. Have you? Do you know Andrew Huberman? Have you used his little video?
Uh, Cuban guy, yeah. I
He's
saw
got.
him. My recommenders.
Yeah. He's got. It's called NSDR, non-sleep deep rest, and that's he talks about the Navy. The Navy uses it somehow, and the U.S. Navy, and it's about an 8-minute video. Another one I'll leave in the bottom. It's an 8-minute video going from limb to limb, taking a deep breath, trying to focus on exactly what your toes are touching and feeling, exactly what your calves and shins are touching and feeling. And you just try to focus exactly, like if my hand was just right here, I would focus on the air flowing through my hands. And then
Yeah,
taking deep breaths. Yeah.
another another aspect is actually like feeling your limbs like relaxing
Yeah.
and like going numb.
Yeah.
So that helps with muscle stiffness. Well, if your muscles are rigid and stiff, it is substantially harder to fall asleep. Well, because your body isn't ready for it, and this exercise that I've referred to, it helps. It definitely does.
Yeah. Good stuff. Well, if you got nothing else, I think that's about it. Me and Kevin both got to go here. So,
And me, I shall go to sleep finally.
yeah, man, get you some rest, man. But if
Thank
anybody, we're going to leave all his information down at the bottom. We're looking to create a great community. That's what the podcast is for. Looks like we found a fantastic student and a fantastic person to throw in here. Student because he's in college. I'm sorry if that sounded condescending. And yeah, just another person to add to the community. Met him in another community, and sure enough, we got an unbelievable hour and a half long conversation done. So just surrounding ourselves with the right mindset and the right group of people. If that's something you want to do, go ahead and jump in below and start a chat. How you feeling over there,
Yeah.
Kevin?
Good. I just really have to pee. Sorry for being quiet.
All right. Well, then, everybody, we'll catch you later. Ilian, thanks again for coming on. We'll send you the link when it's open or uploaded. And yeah, thanks everybody for watching.
Some final thoughts. It was my first experience of being on a podcast, so pardon my shyness, maybe at some points. Then I'm slightly embarrassed with my laptop being a total dumbass, making me feel and be perceived a little bit annoyingly.
No, I want to say that you are an incredible speaker. You put your thoughts into a sentence and then say it. You know how to talk. You take your deep breaths while you talk. You're a good speaker. So I wouldn't have guessed it's your first time on a podcast, to be honest with you. You know how to speak well, man.
Oh yeah. So I'll be excited to join you next time. If that will
Yeah.
happen. When that will happen.
With a microphone. When you've blown up already.
Oh, that can't. I don't know.
Bro, we'll start a GoFundMe. We'll throw that in the bottom too.
Yeah. Fund a college broadcast, a good microphone.
Please. No.
Please.
But all right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next time. Episode 29, baby. Have a good one.